Oh my God, that's the
I
worst.
hate group texts.
I don't mind a Zoom. Just
Group me, fine. I can set
you
notifications.
mute it.
Yeah, I can mute it. I can't mute a dang text.
You can't.
Well, I've learned now that that's a new thing that you can do. I've figured that out. But the last time I was in the middle of a group
But then you
text
miss everything.
with Justin Phillips, who I love, but it got him and Sandy were having a conversation back and forth, and they started doing it again on this one. I'm like,
I set rules. Well, listen, if you have a conversation, if you and I have a conversation, then let's side text each other.
Exactly. I don't mind being in a group text, and then if we need to talk about something, we
side
go off.
text it.
Side
People.
A side text. Yeah, that's they have. I'm like, my
don't
phone is
even
going
read
off and off and
94
off.
messages
No.
from 2 people
No.
that don't include me.
Well, that's the way the group me is for me. I don't have any notifications on,
Consent.
other than the number comes up on the
Right.
the app or whatever, and
Yes.
I don't. Yeah, I'm not in on
All of it.
99.9% of it. I don't need it to be on.
Yep.
Well, you and I cheered at Georgia Southern together. That was you had come from Winder Barrow, right?
Yes, sir. Good dogs.
Go Dogs. And that was so how long did you cheer at Georgia Southern?
2 years.
2 years.
2 years, yeah.
And then you went to Miami-Dade right after that, or you?
No, I left Georgia Southern, took my first gym job in Jacksonville, Cheer 1. They are no longer around, but they've merged into other gyms since then. Then after Cheer 1, I went to Miami-Dade. After that.
How many years were you in Jacksonville working?
2.
So 2 years at Georgia Southern, 2 years
in Jacksonville, 2 years in Miami-Dade.
Did you end up at Miami-Dade because of your time in Jacksonville? Where there's some connection there that got you to Miami-Dade?
Yep. So good buddy of mine, Jeff McQueen, California All-Stars, you know.
Okay, right.
He and I were buddies in Jacksonville. I actually coached him in high school. And then he went to Miami-Dade the year before me. Loved it. Basically a competition team. Just competition cheer. That's all it was. It's community college school, so you didn't have to really attend a lot of classes and all that kind of stuff. So the year after he went, I went. Cheered together, competed, did all that, and then all separated after that.
Was NCAA still? Did you do NCAA at Daytona at that point?
Yeah, buddy, the bench show.
I mean, when I did Georgia College, we competed in Dallas in the arena.
With the semi-truck?
No, it was
like
some. It looked like old UCA with the fake castles. Is what
fake
it looked
castles
like.
and all the ferns.
That's what it looked like to me, if I remember right. And with some that is.
Yeah.
You walked out.
Yeah, but we did Daytona. There's nothing replacing the bench show.
Yeah, I never got to do that.
Compete in the sun. That's you practice that. There was many days of mats out in the parking lot to practice in the sun.
Yeah, I never had to do that. I know we competed. I know we didn't compete outside, but we practiced and warmed up outside at some NCAA competition in Myrtle Beach as a coach.
Yeah.
But I always wanted to compete at UCA in San Diego when it was at SeaWorld in San Diego. But
that's some old school.
Yeah, well, we're talking. Yeah. I age myself quickly when I start talking about this stuff. But I only got to. I was. My first time at UCA was '95, and you weren't on that team, but
no.
And what happened? Why didn't we compete that the year your freshman year? Do you remember why?
No idea.
Do you even remember? I don't know why.
I can't even think about that far back.
Right. Well, that was my last. You cheered with me at Florida, weren't you?
The UF game.
Yeah.
When they were throwing stuff at us.
Yeah, they put us right in front of the dang student section.
Yeah.
Like that's for their cheerleaders. Why
didn't
they
put us ice there? And quarters and all kinds of fun stuff thrown at us. Go Gators.
Yeah, they didn't like us. They thought that.
Well, we were in the lead at halftime or something.
No, here's what it was. We had the most rushing yards than any SEC team did on Florida that season, and they won the national championship that season with Danny Werfel. But we, as Georgia Southern, we were up 14-0.
At first quarter, halftime.
Yeah, first quarter. Yeah. 14-0. Had more rushing yards than any other team that season had on that defense.
They got hateful.
Of course, because we were running the option and they weren't
ready.
They were ready for it. Kinda, whatever. They weren't ready for it in the first quarter, at least. They figured it out, and then I think it was like 50-something to 14. But that's the thing we had on them.
Remember that game? That was good.
Yeah, that was.
Those good road trips. The Liberty and all those fun like App State.
After I went to the year that we cheered together, App State would have been in Statesboro if they coordinate, if I'm remembering right. Because the year before App State, we were there, and that was a crazy night in the cold and the rain, and we talked about that the other day on the Zoom.
Zoom, I wasn't invited on. Whoever in.
I know, right? We're just going to keep
invite
bringing
me.
that up. That talking about how Clint, and this is stories from the team before your year, while you were still.
Yeah, you remember Clinton from my high school,
right?
Clinton
of course. Well, see, Clint got in trouble while we were at Marshall, and Wendell was saying how he thought he was punishing Clint and Sammy by making them sit out, but they actually got to be dry the whole game because it was pouring down rain at Marshall, and we were out there soaked and
hateful,
and
cold.
Yeah, that Wendell's like, I really felt bad that actually the punishment was being out there.
Right.
That we should have let all y'all sit. We got in some trouble up at that weekend in Marshall. Not any jail or anything, but just
always good times. Yeah. Always good times on road trips. 6 or 8 people, 10 people, whatever it was, in a big van, driving crazy amount of hours. And I remember VMI, Virginia Military, stole our mascot. You remember?
No, see, I think that was your second year, and I was already there.
Remember Willie? You remember Willie?
Of course, Willie. Yes.
Willie was the eagle, Gus the eagle, and Army crawled over close to their side, and the first year military guys jumped out of the stands onto the field, came over and carried him like above their head over into the student section.
Really?
But again, you can't. Those are things that happen on away games that you can't ever forget. Willie Word. But one of the best mascots ever. He's taunting the other side. He's got military gear on. He's got like a Red Ryder BB gun, pop gun, whatever. Yeah. And he's Army crawling over, and they came in and picked him up.
Well, I had a mascot before him, Kevin, and then Willie that second year. So I had 2. And I tell you what, coming back from road trips with that mascot uniform in the front seat of those vans, and spraying it with that orange, smelled good. It didn't help it. It just smelled like horrible orange. And I was driving a van, or I was in the front seat, if I remember right, and probably sitting in the front seat because Wendell was probably driving, but I just remember the stench on that thing.
Oh, listen, man. Heat and padded fur, not good.
Not a good combination. Yeah, I would have. I had the heart to be a mascot. Like I could have been a good one, but I would have been burnt.
I think I've been good at basketball, like indoors AC. Outdoor sunshine, heat.
Right.
Pass out. 95 degrees outside with humidity and padded fur. No, thank you.
Yeah. Oof. That is.
But I did get to do some of the Eagle. I mean, I'm not sure we should say I'm an Eagle. Willie and I would trade at halftime.
Oh, did you?
And I'd wear the other suit.
Nice.
And we.
So you did that every now and then.
I did that. The big padded feet and the hands that people like to pull off and all the fun stuff.
Oh, his name was Gus, right?
Gus.
Yeah, I wonder if it's still Gus.
It has to be. I hope it is.
Yeah, I know.